Alright guys, so I thought I'd give you guys an update on the Spider-Man, my fan film that's going to be coming soon. It's completely done, it's completely filmed. Well, it's not completely done, but it's completely filmed. Um, Now where can I sit where I don't look awkward in this video? I'll sit like this. So yeah, the Spider-Man is, yeah, it's completely filmed, it's completely shot, all of that's done. Um, I just need to finish up editing. Now, editing is probably the hardest part, but not to worry, because what I've done is I've gotten the hardest part, which is the climax. Woo, that was done. That was hard to edit. I mean, but that's done. Also, I think that was the hardest part, and then the other really hard part was the very opening scene. But I'm done with both of those. Um, None of the other scenes should be anywhere near as hard to edit. So that's a good thing. The reason the finale, the climax, is so hard to edit is because it skips from this part to that part to this part to that part. And obviously, there are a lot of big reveals and everything. And same with the the beginning. You'd think at the beginning they wouldn't have that many big reveals, but a lot of the big reveals are actually revealed at the beginning of the film. Obviously, I can't tell you any. You'll see when the film comes out. There are a lot of surprises that come out of the first part and the end part, but I can't say anything. Okay? Nothing at all. I can't tell you that Spider-Man's real name is Peter Parker. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I revealed the secret identity. I revealed the entire movie. Just kidding though. But so yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send it to somebody after I'm done editing it. I'm gonna find somebody to edit it together. I'm gonna send them the footage, and they're gonna make it look more somebody who's much better at editing than I am, and they're gonna make it look more glamorous, almost a little bit more cinematic. And that way, because I'm better at writing and doing a plot than I am about cinematography. So that should be good. So I'm going to get people that are much more professional at cinematography than I am to kind of up the ante a bit and make the quality look better. So that way you guys will get the perfect a near perfect fan film. Obviously, it doesn't have the greatest special effects, but the plot, I promise you, the plot makes up for that. And I think people will really like it. Um, Now, like I've said, we're already working on the Spider-Man 2. It will have a different title, not just the Spider-Man 2, but I'm going to reveal what the title is um, when the Spider-Man comes out. You'll figure out what the title of the second one will be. But the schedule goes as follows. The Spider-Man Sinister Six, which is going to be partially based off Superior Foes of Spider-Man. It's going to be all of the Superior Foes minus Beetle and plus Bombshell and Hypno Hustler, because Bombshell is a character from the Ultimate Comics who's replacing Beetle. Although we might have Beetle in the sequels, if there are sequels to the Sinister Six, which there probably will be. Um, um, and uh, After that, we're gonna have what's his name? Uh, oh yeah, and Hypno Hustler. He is there just because he's a really lame villain, and the plot of the Sinister Six is mainly that a bunch of lame villains have to come together and they really want to be, all they want is to be taken seriously. And this is basically them trying to prove themselves as badass bad guys. Yeah, so the film after that is, get excited, Miss Marvel, based off of Kamala Khan, not Carol Danvers. I'm going to let Kevin Feige work with Carol Danvers on his cap. So yeah, pretty much Captain Marvel is Carol Danvers. She's getting her own movies in the MCU. So while they work with that, while Kevin Feige has Captain Marvel, we got Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. everybody's favorite character. So parts, if not all of this, will be animated, but I don't know. I Part of me would like to have at least some of it be live action, and maybe the really hard parts of the film be animated. But the thing is, I want it to be very comic like because basically the thing about Kamala Khan is that she's a fangirl, and the basically in the movie it's basically about how this girl views her life as a comic book, and she is actually a superhero, obviously, but she kind of sees the weirdness and the fantasy of everything. The Spider-Man is a much more darker film because you're seeing the world through Peter Parker's point of view. You see tragedy, you see war, you see loss. But when you get to Miss Marvel, she's much more optimistic. Um, she's much more cheerful, and that's part of the reason why Miss Marvel is going to be a much more lighthearted film. It's really basically think of it as Scott Pilgrim. It's very much a Scott Pilgrim versus the World style fan film. Um, and then we got the Spider-Man 2. Again, there's another title for it, but I'm not going to reveal what the title of the Spider-Man 2 will be just yet. I want the Spider-Man 1 to come out, and then I'll reveal what the title of the Spider-Man 2 is. I'm confident that the Spider-Man 1 will be a success, and it's gotten a lot of hype, so I've already planned a sequel. I was originally supposed to be in the Spider-Man, and I kind of am. I play extras and stunt doubles and stuff like that. Um, but there was supposed to be a really big character that I play in it, and I'm not gonna be. I cut myself from the film, but I will be in the Spider-Man 2 playing the main villain, and I can't wait for that. In the Spider-Man 2, again, it's going to be a very dark film. It's going to be based off of a very popular comic book storyline. Um, Kind of different because of the Reaper. It's a little bit different just because part of it's changed just because of the repercussions from the Spider-Man 1 that you'll see. Um, but what happens in that is, how do I explain this? In in the Spider-Man 2, it's essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it almost like an 80s horror movie. That's essentially what the Spider-Man 2 will be, very much like an 80s horror movie. Think of Escape from New York. Think of the movie Escape from New York. The style of the Spider-Man 2 is very much inspired by that of Escape from New York. Um, so we're really excited about that. We're going to be introducing a sort of lesser known character, but from the comics. But I think this she'll be, she's going to have a big role in this film. And we might also, should I just reveal this? Okay, I'm going to reveal this right out the gate. We might have Blade in the sequel. Yeah, we might have Blade. I'm really missing Wesley Snipes movies, so I'm really hoping maybe to have Blade, and we just might have an older version of Tony Stark. Just might. Don't get your hopes up about Blade or Tony Stark, but it's always a possibility. Um, so yeah, so then we get Punisher Max. Punisher will be introduced in Miss Marvel. Um, and then he'll be reintroduced in Punisher Max, our fan film that comes out right after the Spider-Man 2. And this is basically it has an older Frank Castle, a retired Frank Castle, and he kind of has one last mission to do. Now, Punisher Max is going to be there will be no sequels to Punisher Max. It is a one-off film. Um, the Spider-Man is obviously we're already planning a sequel. We're planning out a trilogy, hopefully, for the Spider-Man. Um, uh, Sinister Six, there will be hopefully at least two films. So I'm just gonna judge. it depends upon how successful the first film is. I think it'll be pretty successful. I think most people will really like Sinister Six. But again, it's one of those more experimental films because it's one of the first villain movies ever. And I know you guys are going to say, "What about Suicide Squad?" Well, it's kind of different because Suicide Squad they're still going after bad guys, but with the Sinister Six, it's kind of different because it's usually in literature the hero is the protagonist, the guy we're supposed to love and the guy we follow, and the villain is the antagonist. He's the person he slash she is the person we're supposed to hate. The person who the protagonist goes up against and is evil and we all hate. But now in Sinister Six, we're kind of turning the tables a little bit. Um, Instead, we have the villains as the protagonists. They're the guys that you love, the guys they're just the lovable wannabes who you just gotta love. And they're going up against the brave, almighty heroes who are just arrogant and you hate them. And even though the heroes are doing the right thing, you hate the bad guy. Well, you don't hate the bad guys. You love the bad guys, and you really hate the good guys just because you're seeing the film through the bad guy's perspective, and the bad guys hate the good guys. So yeah, in this instance, the bad guys are the protagonists, and the good guys are the antagonists. Something I don't think any other film has done before. So it's very experimental. But I do think most people will really like it, and it'll probably get a sequel and maybe a threequel. But that's thinking too far down the line to say, oh, we're gonna make a third Sinister Six. Let's just focus on the first one for now. With the Spider-Man, we're focusing on two at the moment, but with Sinister Six, we're just focusing on one. Same goes with Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, I'm 99.9% sure there will be a Miss Marvel 2, but let's focus on Miss Marvel 1 first. Oh, and one film I forgot to mention, right after Punisher Max, you're going to get in 2019, you're going to get two films. One of them, the second one is a mystery film. Can't tell you about it. But the first one is Thunderbolts, of course. And this is going to be this isn't going to be based off the comic where they have the villains or where they have the anti-heroes. This version of the Thunderbolts is essentially the team up movie, but it's much more different. It's somewhat inspired. It's kind of a mix of not really a mix up, but it's kind of inspired by the Exiles comic from Marvel, in a sense that they all get rounded up together and they all have to go through through alternate universes. And here's the lineup I was thinking about doing. I was thinking about having Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, what's his name? Uh, Blade, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Silver Sable, one character we're hoping to have in the Spider-Man 2 will return in that film. And then one other character we might introduce, only might, who's a fan favorite character, and I think you guys will be really excited about him. Although we might replace, instead of having Blade, we might have Venom, but I haven't ruled that out yet. But you'll see. And well, that's all I have to say for right now. And yeah, uh, thank you guys for watching. Bye. Let me turn this off now.